back, folks. Another Sunday, another Fleet Week. Well, kind of, I guess. It's not always on Sunday, really. So that was probably misleading, wasn't it?
It's usually on Sundays.
I shouldn't have started this. Well, I should have said another week, another Fleet Week, but then that's 2 weeks. That'd be unprofessional. Hello, everyone. Fleet Week is back. We have usually I would say an eventful week of All Elite Wrestling, but not really. We have a week of All Elite Wrestling. Yeah, Rampage was good. Yeah, absolutely. We do have some stuff to talk about. Revolution taking shape, some matches added to that card. The directions are kind of more clear. But even if not the most exciting Dynamite, there is still stuff to talk about. As always, expert panel on board for the program. Young Dukes, how are you tonight?
I'm good. How are you, Joe?
I'm good. I appreciate you asking that. Not many people do that around here, so that's cool. Tope, how are you?
Doing great.
Do you have any I don't want to be kind of an instigator here because I'm on both shows, but I can't help but notice your name there. O'Neill 31 doesn't know ball. That feels
not an instigator.
Felt a little aggressive. That's what I'm saying. Tope,
Justified.
I would agree. For those of you that are unaware, there is a kind of Sunday night war on the way. I mean, not really because they go one after the other, but still, for the sake of conversation, the Sunday night war, Fleet Week, Fed Dead Redemption, up after one another here. So just be wary, folks. Things may get personal. There may be some lashing out going on, but we will see. Chris, how are you tonight?
Doing pretty good. Went to the baseball yesterday, watched the matches last night, caught up on Rampage today. Busy weekend, but it made up for what was a pretty slow Wednesday for me.
Yeah, true. What was the what crime did you commit to have to go to baseball? What was the punishment for?
Joe, it's 5 minutes away. It's free.
All right. Well, that's fair enough.
I didn't pay for it.
Well, now I understand. I convinced myself I like it under those circumstances. But nonetheless, I'm just kidding, folks. We're talking about professional wrestling. That's what we do here now. We do have. See, Tope is on the move here, folks. Keep your eye on that. Have a visual aid throughout the program. Again, if you have the Elimination Chamber review, come back in about an hour and 25 minutes, and the lads will be ready to go. I'll be there with them. Before we get into things, a quick plug. We're going to open and close with this. Tomorrow is the last day to get in the Fleet 50 ballots for 2022. Your top 50 in-ring performers of AEW's 2022. Get them in at joeholbert05@gmail.com. joeholbert05@gmail.com. There you go, folks. Tomorrow. All right. Let's get into it, fellas. We've got a lot to talk about. Again, not really, but still Dynamite. The big man is back. Christian Cage has returned to Elite Wrestling. The actual headline from the show, the actual triumph for the show. Christian is back. He and Jungle Jack are going to reignite their program here. Looks like they're going to be working at Revolution, which is a cool deal because we never got the match, right? They did like a 2-year story and we never actually got the match because the all-out deal was like an angle, basically, because Christian was hurt. Luchasaurus Cage match was terrific, but that was not Christian Cage, obviously. So I'm excited. Fellas, where are you at? Christian Cage is back. Chris, I'll start with you. Happy to see the big man?
Very happy to see the big man so that we, more than anything, happy for him, happy he's healthy and back because I think we all find him very entertaining. We all think he's like one of the best minds in the company too. So it'll be, nice to have him back there. But also this gets rid of like the kind of clunky thrown together Jungle Boy matches that we've been getting, like which, some of them have been all right. Some of them have been better than others, but now we can finally get back to like, what we've all been, waiting for essentially since the beginning of really the beginning of Christian being in the company.
Yeah, I would agree. This was something that first kind of came to fruition in Double or Nothing 2021 was when this all started. As crazy as that sounds, almost a whole 2 years ago. The Battle Royal finish and then becoming like a sort of mentor to Jack and all that's happened since then. I'm very excited. Dukes, fired up for Christian?
So fired up. Jungle Boy should call him a pussy again.
Yeah, fair. Very fair. This feels likely to. It feels like it could help kind of. He can play a very similar role at Jericho, right? Which I think helps. The Tope Suicida, your thoughts?
Very excited. I feel like the Jungle Boy push has definitely, like, not having the Christian kind of end to that story has been big. To put my fantasy booking cap on for a second, I don't believe that this is going to be the only Jungle Boy Christian Cage pay-per-view match this year. it will be the only singles pay-per-view match this year. The Jungle Hook and Adam Edge Copeland.
Oh my god. That really was fantasy booking. That's some good shit.
Yeah,
it's gonna be awkward when Edge shows up to the building and sees Hook's fucking size and goes, well. I mean, he could kick out a spear, I guess,
He's gonna crack the knuckles backstage like TEW.
That's an incredible bit on that game. Very strong reference. Fuse Nova has resubscribed Prime. Been with us now for 8 whole months. Fuse Nova says, all how indeed. 8 months to put out of us dipshits. That really is impressive. Thank you very much. We appreciate you, pal. Let's stick with Jungle Jack. Had a match with Brian Cage. I was informed by Excalibur that this was a rematch of a classic prior encounter. I don't remember much from that one, but I remember enough to know it was better than this one. What was the deal here? This wasn't very good, was it, fellas? What happened here? Duke, explain.
No, it's just kind of like an okay match in the middle of a okay show, so nothing really added to it. It just kind of happened.
Chris, where are we at on Brian Cage? What's the latest in the ongoing saga of Cage? You're also muted. Yeah, be wary, folks.
Owned.
Running bit on this platform. Everyone does that once a week on this platform.
Yeah, I feel like I've been like very up and down on him since we've been doing the show, to be honest. It feels like you really don't know what you're gonna get until you see it sometimes. Obviously, like it's cool when you see him against like a smaller guy like this, but that seems to be all they do at this point when they bring him in.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like, yeah, it's impressive, but it's like, what's the end game with him? What are we doing?
It increasingly feels like this to me. It feels like Cage is kind of putting guys over on the way out. I don't know if he is a guy with the skill set to kind of make that role worthwhile, to just be totally frank. And that doesn't mean he sucks. It just means like, I just don't think any of these matches have been effective in that regard. Tope, where are you at on the machine, Brian Cage?
I find it tough to kind of get into his matches because, as you guys are saying, it does definitely feel like he's racking up the losses on the way out.
Yeah.
However, he's kind of in that, like, I don't have a better way to put it, that like Tim Thatch tier where it's like he pops me if I see him every once in a while, but like overexposure is like 2 times in like a month.
Yeah, that was one of the most insulting things you've ever said to me on this show. Be careful, kid.
Well,
that was a little much. You know, a lot of Brits watch this show, right, Tope?
I'm sorry to hear that.
Just broke a lot of hearts, brother.
Fleet Week, we should ban him.
Factual. I think Cage is obviously a talented guy. I think he'll be fine whatever he chooses to do. It feels like his time in AEW is coming to an end, and he's had a nice run, right? I mean, he had a very uneven end to the run, but the first year or so of his run were really strong. I guess culminating with that Hangman match at Double or Nothing 2021. Which was spectacular. So he had some really nice work. Obviously, he was gone for a long time. This last run's been kind of up and down, very uneven. But there were some nice highs in there, and the Embassy deal kind of had its moments. So we will see what happens. Jack will move on to Christian, as we said, which I think we're all fired up about. That's pretty much clear. All right, I think the most kind of acclaimed match from Dynamite was one that was still pretty divisive, which was the Texas Tornado with Roosh, Preston Vance opposite Moxley and Claudio. This was, speaking of the word uneven, this felt like we got the full Roosh experience here.
Yeah.
I mean, I enjoyed this, but the first half of this, I was like, oh man, this is not quite clicking. It was kind of clunky and awkward. There wasn't a great deal of heat in the building for it. And then the second half, once they got going and Moxley started bleeding everywhere and his shirt was all ripped to pieces, the heat went up, the atmosphere changed. And I ultimately enjoyed it, even if I didn't think it was like, an epic by any means. Tope, what did you make of the Texas Tornado?
Yeah, I enjoyed it for mainly because the most, like, the parts I remember are the entrance and the finish and end part of the match, which were the best parts of the match. But for me, like, I kind of just tuned out the part of the match that I didn't really like.
Yeah. I mean, there was definitely, I don't know if it needed, I think it had like 16 minutes or something like that.
Yeah.
And watching it, I think they easily could have just done a 10-minute just shootout. That was my kind of read on it. Chris, what did you make of this one?
Yeah, I definitely thought it was a little longer than it needed to be. I appreciated like the story kind of aspect of the like I really liked the segments leading up to it of like the reminder of Vance and Mox and that whole situation, and then Vance really targeting Claudio's arm and making that a central piece of I guess what like the kind of middle part of the match. So I thought that was cool. I didn't think it was too bad. I just thought, yeah, it was at times it seemed a little strange, seemed a little clunky.
Mm-hmm. Dukes, what do you think of the match? And then more specifically, where are you at on the big man, Preston Vance? He's been a polarizing, to put it kind of charitably, character on this program. I get it to some extent why they seem intrigued by him, but I just don't know if it's there, man. I don't see it. You don't see it?
Yeah.
No?
I thought the match took a little bit to get going. When Rush and Claudio started going at it, that's when it really picked up. I really hope we get that for Supercard.
Mm-hmm.
Because that, if Rush is fucking on for that match, that's gonna be special.
Yep.
But 10 is like, he's so weird. He's not really good. He's just not really good. He's just not a good big. They have better big men.
He's like a blank slate, you know.
Yeah.
He's like, because he's a big man, but he doesn't wrestle really like that in any way, shape, or form. Right? He has a couple power moves, but he doesn't feel like a force or like a physical presence. He's just kind of a guy. I also don't think he's like a super young guy by any means either, unless I'm mistaken. Sure. I think he's, so I don't know. It's an interesting deal. I mean, obviously, I think everyone's talked about kind of, it's hard not to watch this and ponder the same thing with Andrade, right? It's hard not to kind of immediately veer in that direction, but I don't know, man. I enjoyed what we got here, even if it was not quite what I think it could have been, considering some of the guys involved. But I do agree with you on the Claudio Rush element, I should say, absolutely.
He's 31.
Right. He's 31. Well, probably getting to about that point where some decisions need to be made. Okay, just stick with Jon Moxley here. Of course, the Blackpool Combat Club won. And later in the show, after Hangman's match, which we will talk about, folks. Oh, yeah, we'll talk about it. Mm-hmm. Moxley came out with the Combat Club behind him. Felt like a kind of a schoolyard bully out there in some ways. I think that was the intention too. I think they were very much portraying this idea that Hangman is absolutely in Mox's head and he refuses to say it. I thought it was really well kind of done by Mox. The way he portrayed it, I thought was very good. Evil Uno and the Dark Order came out and back up Hangman. They set up a match next week. This just kind of talk broad strokes. Tope, what did you make of this Hangman Moxley kind of development? I like this segment quite a bit.
I'm loving where this feud's going and how they're like, it's not going too slow, and there's enough week to week to like stay with it, and there's enough new developments to keep you invested. So I'm super excited to see what they do for the pay-per-view.
Yeah, I am too. The Texas Death Match is the step. Dukes, I know you're into this whole program. Mm-hmm. Did this kind of only increase that trend?
Yeah, I love this segment. Mox coming out. Mox portraying like he's not shook by Hangman, but coming out with his boys every week to back him up. It's really fucking good.
Yeah, man, he knocked him out, right? Like he said, that changes the guy's mentality. Mm-hmm. I think Moxley's, and I think he's doing it the perfect way to where it's not like overstated, but it's palpable and you can tell. And his swagger walking out with those guys was like incredibly gone too. It was really good.
And I'm really happy Hangman brought up like, you talked all this shit, but you rolled me up. Like, I liked Hangman's promo.
Yeah, it was a shootout, right? It was like a race to the knockout, and he caught him with a roll up. I think we're all kind of fired up for the Texas Death Match. Chris, where do you see this going next? It feels increasingly to me like Hangman's gonna close this deal out with another win over Moxley. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I really think so too. I really think that's the direction that we're going here. I just love how naturally the story has progressed in terms like at least them two. Because like some of the segments I think leading up have not including them, including a certain Brit, have been like just kind of thrown in there a little. But no, it's just like you guys said, the last match being like a race to the knockout, he gets surprised with the roll up, whatever. The only way it can go is one of them needs a decisive win, and how do they do that? Like last man standing, Texas Death Match, right? It just makes the most sense. So I really like that direction, and I do feel more and more like it's going to be a Hangman win. So regardless, I think it's going to be a great match.
I agree. I think the Hangman win that we're kind of leaning towards here also signals, I think, a further kind of possibility of this Blackpool Combat Club turn. And turn is probably too strong a word in some ways for what they'll actually do, but it does feel like they're going to kind of lean heel here to me in the coming months, which is
definitely like that bully. I feel like they're really going to lean into that bully thing, especially with Yuta's segment with Orange. I think on Rampage that really made me start to kind kind of lean in that direction.
Yeah, I agree. There was a match a couple months ago, Top Flight, where Claudio like really had an edge getting the win in that one. Moxley's always kind of, fired up and aggressive and intense, but he's leaning that way. I guess the big X factor would be there, Tope. If we get a Combat Club heel turn, quote unquote, what does that mean for Danielson? Is he a part of that turn, or is he the guy that they turn on? Because he don't feel like he's part of the group right now. So where do you kind of see that potentially going, Tope?
The problem with the scenario I'm about to pitch is, in theory, you would have Danielson lose 2 straight feuds, but I wouldn't be surprised if basically Danielson goes after Hangman next, and that's how they interlink Danielson with BCC.
That could be interesting. I'm very intrigued by what they have up their sleeve with this Brian business here, because he definitely feels on the outside looking in. Dukes, you got any guess on that?
No, I think the Elite are going to lose the trios titles at Revolution, and I think they might move into a feud with the Blackpool Combat Club.
Yeah, like faction war style.
Sounds fucking awesome.
Yeah, well, that would unlock.
There's a lot of matchups there.
Yeah, and you guys talked previously about the kind of blood and guts style deal they could do. If you get the trios belts out of the way, it almost unlocks it in some regard, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you could do. I guess the question would be, so the Elite would be the Bucks, Kenny, and Hangman, right?
Yeah.
Which then the Combat Club would be, you assume the 4, and that would mean Danielson stays in for the sake of that feud, right? Is what we're guessing as of right now.
Well, I think things can like branch off after that. Like I think after that, Hangman should kind of be done with the Elite, and be his own dude for a while. And I think that can lead to a Blackpool Combat Club turn on Brian of some sort. I don't know if they'll like beat the shit out of him or anything, but
Very interesting. I'm definitely intrigued by that feud. I mean, that feels like the kind of thing that could be the central angle of the show, right? And, AEW has previously loved those kind of big-time faction matches. Last year, of course, we got Anarchy in the Arena, Stadium Stampede before that, Blood and Guts, so on and so forth. So I think it's very likely. It does feel like those pieces are kind of coming in place. Okay, we'd have to now talk about Kip Sabian. Last week, we had a lot of content regarding Kip Sabian. We had some fun. I took a stand in support of a fellow Brit, which has never happened before on this platform. Before we go any further, I want to make my stance clear on this. To me, this was just nothing. I'm not like offended by it or upset by it. It was about 6 minutes of wrestling. It was just whatever. However, I know that others are not quite as generous. Tope Suicida, are you part of those others? Tope has now changed his name to mute and has departed the conversation. Fair enough. Chris, where do you stand on Kipgate?
Okay, so I hadn't watched Hangman Kip until today because I missed it when it originally happened. And last night I conceded a little bit to Dukes and to our friend All Pro Joe in the Discord.
Mm-hmm.
I conceded a little on Kip. But yeah, it was just, I don't think it should have happened is my problem. I don't think there was any need for it. I think the reasoning why they had it was stupid too. And it's just, I just don't understand. Like it was to me, it was a harmless match. It probably should have ended earlier. But props to Excalibur for really trying to make us care about this by saying that like they were the first 2 people to win a match in AEW and that their careers have gone in different trajectories and that the reason why Kip hasn't been good is because he's been injured. I mean, props to him. All respect there, but yeah, I think just Kip. I'm sure that there is a role that Kip could play of just losing and being an interesting character in some way. It's just not this. It's not in this way. And I think that's the biggest issue that I have. Duke,
you're the biggest Hangman fan here, I believe. This was not good for the cage match average, brother. You know what I'm saying?
It really took a hit. It's tough. It happens when you wrestle Brits every once in a while. But, it was just Kip is so painfully just okay. He's just mid. He's got like an uninspired moveset. He just doesn't really do anything like good.
I like it.
And like, he's just, what was that?
Nothing.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So
you don't like the thing where he like sits on the rope and spins?
No, I don't.
You don't like that? That's fun.
Goodness.
What do you mean?
Fair enough. Dukes became the schoolyard bully there. Did you see that?
Yeah. Get defensive.
I think
It felt like a waste of time. Hangman should have beat him in like 2 minutes.
I agree, it was a waste of time.
Yeah, I think if they want to try and find Sam Kip, it would be worth exploring like a team that he can kind of sink his teeth into. Obviously, he was in a team with Miro, but everyone knew that was, everyone knew Miro had to move on, right? So, maybe they could do something with that. I don't know. It's hard. The roster's so loaded, man. It's really difficult.
I was saying last night, like I really do think that there could be something there with Kip and Butcher and Blade. Yeah. Like that could have been a cool tune-up match or something, or tune-up feud for House of Black before they get to the Elite. Just something like that could be interesting, and at least like let Kip and Butcher and Blade like develop as characters together, like why they're together. Just I don't know, more stuff like that. Maybe on Dark, or you show a video package or something. But other than that, like it's just a waste. Like, what were we trying to do here with Kip? There was no need for this to happen. He didn't like his reasoning for wanting this match was stupid too. The beat down backstage was stupid.
Yeah, absolutely. That deal where he was like, I ain't got no problem with Moxley kicking the shit out of me. I was like,
I lost the Mox. Like,
yeah, it was weird. One of the things I genuinely really did like on Wednesday was the MJF segment. Believe it or not, folks, Young Lions are going to be turning the tide here. I thought his promo was good, but I really did like the Daniels deal here.
Me too.
I mean, Daniels has been a good promo for a really long time, but it was remarkable to me considering how long it's been since he did a live promo on national television, how good he was in this segment. I thought he was tremendous. It was not like groundbreaking or anything that's going to, up the pay-per-view buys dramatically, but let's be real, man. This feud's now been going on for 2 months, and like you need different spins on getting this thing moving along. And I thought this was a creative way to kind of develop that. I thought this was a good idea, executed extremely well. I actually was impressed by this. Chris, what did you make of the MJF Daniels business here?
Yeah, so I thought it was really well done. I thought just because I remember I was watching this with my roommates, because for now I showed them that one promo from 2 weeks ago, and now they're like in love with MJF. And I was like, oh, he's on. Let me just put it on for you guys so you can watch it. And then and Daniels comes out, and then obviously they don't know who he is. And I'm like, wait, so is he like a bad guy now? Like, I'm just very confused watching this. And then he comes out, and then he does the turn thing and throws the money. And then I forgot who it was that pointed it out to me that like MJF picks the money up and puts it in his back pocket. Away. Yeah. Oh, that was so good. That was so good. But yeah, no, like I definitely think it did its job. It progressed the feud. And yeah, like you said, it's not something that's gonna like increase buys or anything, but it definitely adds another layer to Max and to Brian too, kind of having CD like put him over a little bit in that exchange.
Well, they're kind of increasing this. You talked about this last week, Chris, but they're kind of increasing that contrast, right? They're trying to really draw a line between the guys as to how different they are. And I think that will come to a head in the match of how they work it, which will be interesting because when you do a 60-minute match, you need multiple different, plot lines, if that makes sense. Like you can't just do, Brian's the better wrestler, and like you're going to have to go through a bunch of different ups and downs. It's 60 minutes, but that is the kind of core idea. It's just how different these guys are. And, it's nothing groundbreaking or revolutionary, but it doesn't have to be. It's a professional wrestling story, right? It's simple. Tope, what do you make of this latest chapter for Max and Brian here on Wednesday?
Love the segment. My critique is, I feel like a pretty common one of it just went on for a little bit too long for me.
Yeah, that's fair. It was a little extended. I agree with you. I think if Daniels was going to go as long as he did, Max probably could have done with shaving some of his, right? Like the pre-part, the lead-in.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with that. Dukes, what do you think?
I liked it. The only thing, the main thing that I would have like added to it, I guess, was I think Max should have beat the fuck out of Daniels. Like I think he should have fucking made him bleed and fucking It should have been more like the post-match of the Takeshita match.
Mm-hmm.
But you just put him in the armbar and Brian came out right away, which was fine. It wasn't nothing bad about it. But I think if you like killed him, it would have had a lot more juice.
The way they did the segment, the one thing I'd say is it was pretty jarring that Brian was in the building, right?
Yeah.
Like in some ways, the way they did the segment, it would have made more sense if Brian wasn't there. Like I saw Matt did a tweet about like the hold up, let him cook, that meme. He's like Brian behind the curtain while Daniels puts him over. Like the idea of Danielson just watching that segment on a monitor, like, man, he's right. I'm fucking awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that part of it, I tend to agree on. The save almost felt like it was attacked on from another segment in a weird way. It would have been better if he got real heat on Daniels. I guess you know, it would have made Daniels look kind of dumb, but ultimately, I mean, you know, like Daniels isn't the priority here. I love Daniels, but at this point, it isn't about him, so that wouldn't have been a problem. I actually agree with you. Look, man, I'm going through this show now, and like this wasn't a good show, I didn't think, but there's some things that I enjoyed, and it's kind of more obvious doing it in this fashion. Mark Briscoe, we haven't got to that yet. I mean, I thought our match was really solid. Woods is not interesting in the least. I concede on that. I'll never argue with anyone who doesn't care about him. That guy can go though. I mean, he's a really good
wrestler.
He's a really capable wrestler, and he has a size and physicality that translates to national television. And Mark Briscoe is just an absolute hoot in every which way. I mean, he's just so fun to watch, and all of his different quirks and shenanigans and such. He's a blast. Dukes, what did you make of the second AEW match from Mark Briscoe?
I liked it a lot. I mean, it's Mark Briscoe. I don't really have much to complain about.
Yeah, I tend to agree. Tope, anything on this one, mate?
Mark Briscoe being Mark Briscoe. It ruled.
Yeah, an easy formula, right?
Yeah,
just like Mark Briscoe do Mark Briscoe things.
Let him cook.
Yeah, it's the same with his promo last Friday too, right? Where he just went full Mark Briscoe.
Woodsy.
The way he was holding the card.
Yeah.
Chris, what did you think of this one from Mark Briscoe and Josh Woods?
Yeah, Mark Briscoe on national TV is fun. I like it. Just like you said, like all the quirks on that stage is so cool. In front of like a big crowd like that. Like the dancing, that's all that stuff. It's just it's so funny. I thought it was good. Like you said, like Woods, I'm not arguing that he should be highlighted as like this big guy or whatever, but this is just a good spot for him. Especially given like, even in the segments, if you don't know anything about either of them, like you can tell that they have some sort of personal like history or whatever you want to call it. So I thought that was cool. And I thought that they did a good job of that, and I really hope we see more Mark Briscoe on TV like this.
Yeah, me too. The main event of the show is a less positive note. I didn't even make note of the opener because we'll talk about it on the vibrator, but the main event was, I didn't think the match was like a disaster by any means. I know it's got some people felt that way, and I'm not saying they're wrong. I just thought it was fine. But admittedly, I watched it after hearing all that, which like kind of prepares you in a way. It's like, it was whatever. There's one particular spot that was quite the deal. We'll get to that on the vibrator, I noticed.
Yeah.
But the more kind of the reason I have this as a topic is the angle itself, right? The kind of broad strokes part of this is like, we had some concerns. I had a bunch of concerns, but we were all, I think, optimistic about what this could be for the division, this angle, right? And it felt like it could be a thing that could bring the women to the main event of the show regularly and so on and so forth. And it did it here. So I'm glad they're in the main event. However, as an angle, this thing is not off to a red hot start. No. I think would be putting it politely. In fact, I don't think this thing is really interesting at all thus far, which is like a real shame considering that even if I don't like the kind of concepts necessarily, I get why it's appealing. It's, to me, just nothing right now. And I think they've not really fleshed it out,
I don't know. It needs something. I don't know what it is. It needs like a I don't know, just
maybe it needs like a leader, a CEO, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, but also would say it's concerning that this can only be salvaged by the greatest American women's wrestler of all time.
What?
Feels telling in its own way. Tope, without citing the suggestion that Chris just brought up, what do you make of this angle thus far?
I love it. It's setting up the biggest upset in Dynamite history on Wednesday. It's gonna fucking rule. Man, you want a leader. You were talking about leaders.
I'll be real. There's very few times they put a graphic on the screen that has made me like gasp the way this one did. Terrera in Sky Blue is crazy, man. Like, I don't know what that's going to look like. It could be good. I don't know. Hopefully it's good. My reaction was, oh my God, Yeah, I think the chat may be actually right. If you actually get Mercedes to sign a contract, you need to be like, okay, let's just end this whole thing and start fresh with her. I don't know if you can put her in this, man. This shit's...
Let her work with Bow Wow.
And, well, hold on.
Go to hell.
I feel bad for Tony because her work is always good.
Mm-hmm.
But her and Saraya feel like they're just.
She's stuck with a fucking bad
Man,
manager right now.
She's just weighing her down.
It's bad, yeah. And
she's not good, man.
I know she's not, but it's just hard because you can tell she's really trying to be a heel.
Yeah,
you can tell
it
she
almost
cares,
makes it worse, you know. Yeah, it's brutal, man. We did a review show. I remember on Fresh. I think you were.
I was there.
Yeah, Chris, you were there, right? That one. I remember. I don't know if Tope was there, but
I was on the review. We did the review show too. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just remember we all just wanted it to go well, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And we're now 5 months removed from that, and not much has gone well, man. I mean, it's unfortunate.
No. I don't think it's really been gone in general.
Yeah, 5 months is crazy, right? That's wild.
Yeah, that is weird.
Because a lot of the stuff in wrestling feels like it was longer ago.
Mm.
That one, it's like, oh my god, it's been 5 months and she's not done anything. She just doesn't seem to have it, you know. I said this on the grin, and there's. I want to be clear. I don't take any pleasure in this because it's, you know, whatever, man. It's no great thrill to me to say that someone's not entertaining on wrestling television, but it isn't a case of oh, she looks like she physically can't do it anymore. Her angles and stuff it's like she doesn't have any grip on what she's supposed to be doing out there, you know, in any front, and it's a shame because while she was never a super worker, she had a good, you know, she had a sort of captivating personality. She had a presence. It's not translated thus far in this comeback. It's unfortunate.
It just kind of feels like she goes out there and she's just kind of winging it every time.
That also, yeah, that doesn't help. Yeah, I don't know. Where do you think we're going with this, Chris? Genuinely, are we going to get anything good out of this?
I really don't know. I was hoping we would, just because I like a lot of the people involved. I do. I really do. Especially when you think about remember we came on here and we talked so much good stuff about Toni Storm.
Mm-hmm.
I was so happy. I was like, fuck, she's back, you know, she's having fun. And then this happened, and I'm just sad now. I'm just really sad. I don't know what else to say.
It feels like there's no creative vision for this feud.
And it doesn't feel like there's any light at the end of the tunnel either, which is the worst. Yeah. I feel like the worst feeling.
Where is Willow?
I know.
What's the deal with that? She was Ruby's friend. Why does she just disappear? It's a shame. It's and it feels especially. It's especially lame that we're having this conversation now if they main event Dynamite, because it should be really cool.
Yeah,
you know.
I was happy when I saw them going. I was like, oh, okay, cool, good for them.
Maybe and I was like, oh, big thing. I was like, oh, they're gonna do the thing where Ruby picks a side finally after the match, and she didn't.
Well, yeah, that too.
Nothing happened.
Yeah, and
so many loose ends.
It feels like they're just treading water.
Yeah,
there's nothing really happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jamie is. I'm not of the thing of Jamie's a backdrop to Britt, because I don't think that's really true. It's a little bit unfair. Britt, who just gets pinned exclusively at this point.
Yeah,
but she's not got her own story, which is the issue, really. Right? Jamie's just a character in this. Ruby's the main character in a lot of ways, which is I'm fine. I love Ruby. The only problem is the way they're telling the story. The only human response you can have to it is, "Oh my god, can everyone please just leave Ruby alone?" You know, it's exhausting on that front.
Also, it's okay. I said I made a joke about Mercedes before and everything, but it feels like we just need something to happen because this is not interesting. And like Duke said, it feels like we're treading water and just waiting for something to happen. Yeah. And regardless, that something isn't Ruby picking a side. That's just a little loose end that we need to tie up and to get going to move forward. But we haven't moved forward at all. It's just they're bully. They're weird kindergarten bullies and weird way of trying to get into people's heads. Right? They're not really effective at it, and we just haven't done anything. We haven't done anything.
I've been told they're the new NWO. Actually, that's what I heard.
I wonder who said that.
Tope, what did you say, mate? Sorry, go.
No, I just said wait till Wednesday, brother.
Listen, that might actually happen, which makes this even funnier.
I will fucking. If them and Ozzy open on the same card, I will take the biggest victory lap of all time.
Well, we shall see, folks. All right, there you go. It's time now for everyone's favorite segment.
Oh, yeah.
This week's Fleet Week Vibrator is sponsored by the program that follows it, Fed Dead.
What the fuck?
We need to to get a clip of the reactions there, by the way. That was.
Yeah, well, look, man. I mean, highest bidder, right? We're running a business here, fellas. Right? Here's what it is. All right, here we go. Vibrator underwear. Look at this starting point. Pop, but bad for segment 1. What a strange choice for opener that was, huh?
So weird.
Why didn't they switch the Moxley match and that match? That would have been fine as like the kind of bridge between stuff, It's bizarre.
The match was also just very slow.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't very good. You get, I suppose. I appreciate the graphic nonetheless. Tope, very nice. Boogie Dragon is coming. Is that a Danielson promo?
Yes.
That brings us up to good vibes. We then fall again to mid for Wild Thangers. part 1.
This was the bad part.
Yes, part 2 when it got good as climbs us back up to good. Wholesome Low.
The Wardlow sit down.
Oh my God. Wholesome Low?
I don't know,
wow.
Man. Dude, JR was so funny in that.
He looked so disengaged.
I know. Wardlow was telling like this really sweet story.
Yeah.
And he was like, my dad got to see my first indie match, and JR goes, oh, cool.
Did you hear how miserable he sounded on Rampage? He starts the show and he goes, insane. I'm the only one who hasn't got a t-shirt because I'm too fat. That's what he said. And no one even responded to him. They just let him say it and moved on. I actually should have brought that segment up. My apologies. The Wardlow promo I liked a bit. I'm surprised it isn't higher on the old Vibrator. I was pretty damn good, honestly. But I don't know. What, you guys not too big of a fan?
I liked it.
Oh, Dukes has distanced himself from the Vibrator rating. Tope, Chris, you got anything to say about this Wardlow segment?
Lower.
Oh my God!
I was right in the middle.
Oh my God, Chris, what was the beef with this Wardlow segment? I'm intrigued.
I don't know. I'd rather Joe do other things personally, but
yeah, it's fair.
I tend to agree with that, but
I agree with that. Like overall, I just like the singular segment, but I think it's pretty clear Wardlow's getting this belt back, right? I think that's kind of just the inevitable. And look, as I said elsewhere, I think Joe can do a lot of fun things without having the TV title or the TNT title, whatever it's called. So yeah, I think it'll be fine. Mark Briscoe, Josh Woods brings us back to good. We fall away some again with Remarkable Renee, which is the running term for Renee's segments. Yeah. Remarkable Renee, which pops me. I mean, he's right. It's true.
True.
There wasn't any development in that segment, which kind of surprised me, I have to admit.
Yeah, it's just like a lot of nothing.
It was very funny. It was absolutely nothing happened there. We learned nothing that he hasn't already told us.
I never thought I'd ask this question, but it makes you wonder if Renee's really remarkable or if you can get a good answer out of Adam Cole on national television. But,
wow, that's crazy.
Wow,
that was unnecessary.
Good. Fan of the big bucks, brother. Can we get an answer out of him? What's he doing? He's sitting over his tanned hands, not telling us anything.
I thought it was funny too because the preview of it that they showed on Rampage was her asking him like, "Oh, what's next for you?" And he said like, "Oh, I'm not going to say that yet." So that was like the only interesting question you could ask him, and you already gave away that he's not going to answer it. Like it was.
Let me clear, folks. In my book, Renee Remarkable goes without saying. But I mean, come on now. What are we doing here? Don't let him off the hook like that next time. I demand an answer from him. So what's happening with the Switchblade, man? What's going on here? Anyway, we jump to a show high here, just shy of impeccable vibes for MJF proves best picture-in-picture. Wait.
That's MJF. Backwards. It should be entrances picture-in-picture, but
doesn't matter.
Incredible. Incredible. That was very good, actually. That he's crowd work and he kind of set the crowd up to boo him. That's good stuff. CD explains. I noticed the gap there, which I didn't see before. CD explains Danielson Law drops off to Pops, and then we climb back up above good vibes for MJF kicks CD in the penis.
True.
Which is specific and accurate, if nothing else. Wait, I thought he was just Jack Perry now. What was
that not a thing? Yeah,
what do you mean?
They kept saying Jungle Boy. I thought it was just
Jungle
Jack
Boy.
Perry.
I thought it was like Jungle Boy Jack Perry. I thought it was like a whole thing. He's like a nickname plus real name. I thought it was what they were doing. I don't know.
Why is this a Pops?
I don't know, man. You tell me.
Good point. Fair. Moving on.
Christian Cage is back, almost reaching the impeccable vibes. I think with some more momentum, he would have got there easily, to be honest. Great image of Christian with a big shit-eating grin there. Look at him. Beautiful. Rematch clause. Was this the Top Flight AR Fox situation?
No, it was the Acclaimed inserting themselves into the.
Oh, yeah. I want to talk about it in a moment because that was fucking hilarious. That whole announcement and the way it was handled was incredible. We do go up a little bit more for the Young Bucks or the Elite versus Top Flight AR Fox rematch being set.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have a big
death match got announced.
Yeah, Texas death match next.
Well,
nothing happened in between.
I mean, there's
nothing happened for me.
There's a big box there, folks. You know, the big box, big blank box there. Okay, folks,
I wish the box wasn't there.
All right, Texas Death. We're about to good vibes.
Hell yeah.
And we fall away for Jericho's cool little red jacket, like a cool little rock star. True. Yes. This is the kind of controversial element here. We all agreed on the segment to close the show and the match to close the show. Inexplicably, Tope Suicida decided to list this final segment as, and I quote, Tony spray paints her ass.
I will admit it's factually incorrect, as she was not
Soraya
the one.
Yeah,
but that didn't fit as well.
This appears to be at least equal to the highest rated thing on the show.
All I'm gonna ask is, what is more vibes than that? That's my simple question.
It's honestly a fair question now I think about it. All right, there you go, folks. The Fleet Week Vibrator, presented by Fed Dead
No.
Coming up, folks, about 45 minutes away. Bobby and Oracle talking Elimination Chamber. Okay, let's do some Rampage talk. The show that we've been waiting on. Man, I love this main event. I love this main event. I wasn't completely convinced on this style matchup, but Swerve kind of simplified his game. They kind of went meat and potatoes, blood and guts, punches, the works, that real graps.
Mm-hmm.
Dustin still got it. What a pro wrestler. I thought this was a wonderful time. I'm sure this maybe wasn't for you guys, but I even like the finish because they don't do that stuff often, so it popped me.
I like it too.
I've always cool that Dustin actually had him beat, it was kind of fun.
Listen, that Parker Boudreaux kid, hell of a lariat on that guard.
I'm ready to reassess, Stokes.
Me too. He threw a fucking trench through a headbutt the week before. Mm-hmm. Parker's got a nice lariat.
Maybe the new World's Tag Team Champions before long, folks. Let's see what Dex and Cash can get out of him in a couple months here. Chris, did you see Dustin and Swerve? And if so, what did you think of it?
I did. I thought it was really good. I can't really explain to you how Dustin is still as good as he is. And I really appreciated Jericho reminding us when the match ended that this never happens in AEW. Really added the fact that it never happens in AEW, the finish that we got. But yeah, no, I thought it was great. Seeing like Dustin and Swerve be able to work each other's styles was really cool too. It was slow when it needed to be slow. It was faster and more, and quicker when it needed to be. And yeah, no, I thought it was great. It was another reason why Dustin's one of my favorites.
Incredible Jericho line when Dustin came out. Jericho announced that Dustin was one of the most underrated promos in the business. Which what that means in the world of wrestling, I have no fucking clue. I don't understand why, but God bless him. Could have just said he's a captivating talker in the sport of professional wrestling, but we're just doing podcasts out there at the announce booth. Bless him. Silky smooth in that ring though, man. Dustin is just a treat to watch. And obviously Swerve, I know he's one of your favorites, Tope. What did you make of this bout you had here with Dustin Rhodes?
So here I am, Friday night, sitting down, enjoying my dinner with my mother and my sister. We're just relaxing, having a fast food Mexican restaurant, no free promo. Nice. Sitting, just talking. I checked the clock. It's about 7:52-ish, I want to say, Eastern time. Oh, shit.
This is Rampage, baby.
I forgot the show that I was waiting on. And I have yet to watch that show, but I will eventually. Okay.
So the show that you've been waiting on, you actually waited too long for.
Yeah.
Overweighted, All right, fair enough. We'll see what the rating looks like. You might not have been alone. Dukes, what did you make of Dustin and Swerve?
Fucking ruled, man. Yeah. Swerve is we talked about Dustin. He's still got it.
Yeah.
But Swerve is just fucking evil in the ring. I genuinely for every bad segment that this is, got, which really there weren't that many. It was just kind of the first one that was really bad. But every time he shows it, I'm oh, he can be the fucking world champion because he's got it, man.
Mm-hmm.
And the post match, the big man is back. with the gray hair. Oh my God,
bro,
cooking.
Everything I'm about to say is a compliment because it's real graps in every which way. But Keith Lee did all of the physicality in that post match as though he had not like moved since he went home. Like, he threw a spinning back elbow, and like there's a whole quarter hour that's just gonna be listed as Keith throwing the spinning back. Like he fucking turned. By the time he got round, the lights had gone down. People had already left the building. It was unbelievable. He had grey hair. He looked. I mean, let me stress again. This is everything I'm saying here is the definition of real graps. I mean, this is as good as it gets. You know, the hair, extraordinary look, especially with the clean shave. The clean shave makes it look even more insane. Honestly,
it looks like he's in the
way he like rose up from behind them.
Yes, he looks insane.
Oh, it's awesome.
This immediately becomes one of the matches I want to see most of Revolution, if indeed we're getting the singles, which I assume we are. Right? I mean, and Dustin tag could be fun though on TV.
I think we might get. That's what I was going to say. Keith and Dustin versus Trench and Parker.
Good luck.
Listen.
Good luck, folks. Yeah. Worst things about it. I mean, praying for Dustin.
You got to throw him in the fire.
That'd be some fire. All right. They opened the show with the sort of NBA-centric elite top flight match. This obviously was, a lot of shenanigans, but I guess you'd call this like this brand of wrestling. They do like party wrestling, I think is the best way to term it. Other people have used that.
It's like a house show match.
Yeah, it's like I'm not trying to do a gimmick here, guys, but it really is vibes wrestling. It's like, like there was a high spot in which Dante did some high spot and he like launched the ball directly at Kenny Omega's dick.
Yes.
And hit too, by the way. I want to make it clear. This is one of those deals where watching them do it, it may look overly choreographed or kind of silly, but it is very important to note that it is only the elite that could come over a match like this.
Oh yeah. If anyone else tried to do this, it would not be as good, and it would just be bad and not fun.
Mm-hmm. At times, it looks too easy for them, so I get why some people like roll their eyes, but that says more about them than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the stuff they did here was ridiculous, man.
Yeah,
like
they did jump ball at the beginning.
Yeah, they did full on high spot sequences with a fucking basketball involved. It's like I feel like a broken record saying it, but the elite could have a good trios match with any three wrestlers that have like 10 matches under their belt.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're just absolutely extraordinary, and obviously Top Flight and Al Fox are more than that. This wasn't as good as the first match they had, but it wasn't trying to be. It was kind of a spectacle. Chris, what did you make of this kind of NBA All-Star game deal they had here in this 6-man match?
So I hadn't watched it live. Actually, I had a similar thing with Tope where at like 8 p.m. I saw everyone in the Discord and I like texted and I was like, why is everyone here at 8 p.m.? And I was out very confused. So I only saw really on Friday the clip of the jump ball and I was very scared, Joe. I was very concerned. I was very sad. I said, how did we get to this point? And then I watched the actual match today. And then I was like, oh, no, that was fun. Like, it wasn't, I had a weird impression with the clip. I thought it was just like pure goofiness and, bad. But I thought it was fun. I thought, they had a really good match strung with those like, basketball segment type things that they were doing throughout. I thought it was fun. I thought everyone got shit in and it was fun. And yeah, I just like this pairing a lot with these two teams. Like the last time we saw it, I had only good things to say, and then this time too, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a good time. The elite, I'm aware their usage is like a big debate right now, but if nothing else, they make the most of these title defenses, right? I mean, these are always a good time. So, tremendous stuff as usual. Top Flight, what do you think, boys? They got a chance in this battle royal next week? Feels like they're one of the favorites to me.
They could. I actually think Aussie Open's going to win.
Yeah, me too. Mm-hmm. I think of all the AEW teams, Top Flight the favorite, but now they've added Aussie Open. It feels like
and I think you can kind of pivot Top Flight into a thing with the Lucha Bros, which would be pretty cool since they're in it too.
They showed up on in
that
the
was we forgot about that. That was so funny. Yeah. That was so funny. Mark Briscoe's going to join the Death Triangle, the Death Square.
Yeah. We will kind of talk a little more about the Battle Royal deal when we get to. I'm going to do a kind of quick segment on Revolution, but firstly, let's kind of finish the Rampage deal. There wasn't much to say about the Jade match because, unfortunately, I feel like I've watched that exact match now like 15 times. It's insane. I I really like Garcia and Starks.
Me too.
I know it's not like a classic. It wasn't trying to be, but this was rock solid. These are two of the guys I really enjoy watching in this kind of TV match scenario. Dukes, I gather you concur, right?
Yeah. Daniel Garcia is so fucking good. And when
Absolutely.
Ricky's selling for him, there's really no way it could have been bad. And I'm kind of excited to see Sammy versus Action Andretti because I think they've got some weird fucking ideas between the two of them.
Yeah, I would agree. Chris, I seem to recall that you are on board the kind of pro Ricky Starks agenda on this platform.
Oh yeah.
Did this match help or hurt that?
It helped it, especially because when I didn't really remember what was on the card, and then when I saw this come up, I was like, oh, okay, I'm excited because it's Ricky and Garcia, and I expected a good match. But I was also like, oh, it's fucking Jericho on commentary, like it's just more of this. But yeah, again, like those two aren't gonna have a bad match. Like it's just not gonna happen. We said the same thing when they did the gauntlet with them too. Like, yeah, the rest of it was kind of shitty, and then they locked up, and it was, they brought it back kind of. So yeah, as a whole with this story, I'm still in the same spot I was before of like I'd rather Ricky be doing other stuff that I think helps him more than this does. No matter what you want to say about Jericho helping people out, I guess. But yeah, big fan of Ricky. I thought they did a great job. I could watch these guys wrestle forever. Like they're that good.
They're fun. Yeah, I agree. Okay, let's look ahead here to next week's program, and then we'll do a quick segment on Revolution. And then I'm aware, folks, we've got some news here. There's another vibrator ahead. The boys bring out the big guns here for the first Sunday Night War. All right, next week. Anyone else surprised that Tony didn't make the show look good? Because I'm kind of stunned. I thought we would load.
What did he announce for it?
Okay, we got Orange and Utah. That's fun, right? I'm into that. Moxley and Uno.
I think that's honestly, it's giving me Mox and 10 vibes. I think Mox is going to kill him.
Exactly. It's not going to be. I don't think there's any way he has a real match for Uno, right?
Yeah, no.
The tag team battle royale.
Aussie.
Oi.
Saraya and Sky Blue.
10 out of 10. And
there's something else. I forget what.
Big announcement.
The Acclaimed versus Big Bill and Lee Moriarty.
That's real graps.
Oh, yeah.
And then the real thing that was going to take the headlines up, for better or worse.
Oh, yeah.
Is the TK announcement, which I'm going to stress again, could absolutely be something they announce in passing, and Tony Khan never appears. He's done this many times before.
I've seen Tony Schiavone will say it to open the show.
Yeah. Any guesses on what this is? Feel free to just throw answers at me.
I think it'll be Forbidden Door 2.
Yeah.
Or the UK show.
Which I think could...
Or both. Yeah.
I think
same 2 in 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting. I don't know, boys. Anything else? Any kind of guesses on this one?
Do you think it's a major free agent acquisition?
But then it would say, like, when they do, it says, like, when they've done that, haven't they said, like, free agent acquisition or whatever?
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
I just can't see a world in which Mercedes Moné is announced by fucking this graphic. Like, surely not, right? Like, there's no way. I don't know. I mean,
TK comes out on the stage.
He does the Giannis entrance, but for Mercedes.
Moné.
Tremendous. Okay.
The
CEO. Let's take a quick look at Revolution here before we get to the second vibrator. Okay, so I'll throw the match out, and you guys can give me using your scale, the vibrator. You can give me your excitement level. Does that work? Okay.
Yeah. What if TK comes out? Sorry to interrupt. What if TK comes out and just dunks on Ariel Helwani?
It depends how he does it, because that could be funny, but that could also be unbelievably embarrassing depending on his tact.
Oh yeah. He brings out Renee for something and goes, "My unbiased journalist, Renee Paquette."
See, now that's funny. The reply he had.
He had a chance. He had a chance.
Yeah.
It was rough. He had it.
It was like it was like Brick's one in Anchorman, the toilet store. Where'd you get your clothes from? It was like that deal. It was like that deal. Did not kind of think that one through, I feel. Helwani was always going to come back with saying, and let me tell you something, folks. Tomorrow when he goes back on the air with his show, he's going to go absolutely nuts on that show. I've seen what he does in these scenarios. He's going to have an hour segment talking about Tony Khan just kicking the shit out of him. How Tony handles that, maybe worth logging off. I don't know. All right. MJF versus Bryan Danielson. Where's the vibrator of excitement out on this one, boys? Where are we at?
Good vibes.
Good vibes.
Yeah, good to impeccable.
I'm good vibes in a quarter.
Okay. In the quarter.
The Guns versus the Acclaimed versus 2 tag team battle royale winners.
Can we say it's Aussie Open?
I mean, you can say what you want. It's a podcast, right?
All right, impeccable.
Police immediately arrive. Hold on a second. We didn't announce that. Watch it, Tope Suicida. Impeccable, my God. Is that cosign?
If it's FTR like this, like the top, this is impeccable, and then we're like up here. We're breaking scale.
FTR, the only team in the world that can make me care about a fatal 4-way tag. Begrudgingly, I'll do so, but I'll do it. Moxley and Hangman, Texas Deathmatch.
Impeccable vibes.
Yeah.
Impeccable.
Yeah.
That's the consensus. Okay. Samoa Joe and Wardlow.
Pops.
That's fair.
Popping good.
All right. That works for me. Okay. Now, folks, we do have the second vibrator program. This is not sponsored by Fed Dead Redemption.
Yes, it's sponsored by Crystallology.
It's actually sponsored by a gentleman who was live for last night's Grin Along. Had a wonderful time. The Confirmed Shoot. Here it is. The Battle in the Valley vibe. We kick off here with Bobby Fish. Got a great image of him here. Where's the lie?
Folks.
Yes, indeed. Honestly, that rating may be a lie in itself. I don't know if that one deserves the pop part, frankly, but nonetheless.
Well, it was Bobby Fish. He had really shitty music, and his shirt's
There's no lie.
I didn't hear the music because the fight feed didn't have audio.
That's fair.
Many people fight. Is this the opening 8-man?
Yes.
Pops. We stay at Pops for the Guns versus West Coast Wrecking. What do you guys think of the West Coast Wrecking Crew? Matt and I were pretty impressed.
I liked them, but it was a good match.
Yeah, I think they only had like 10 minutes, right? They weren't trying to have like a classic or anything. It was a nice match. We shoot up the scale now. Look at that image. God, what a great photo. Look at Okada's face. That's fabulous. Shout out to JJ. Everyone go follow JJ. He's great pictures. His photos from last night were unbelievable. Some of the best he's ever done.
Yeah, there's one right there on the screen.
Absolutely. Kenta. Impeccable vibes for Kenta becoming the strong openweight champion of the world. Big deal, fellas. Big deal.
Match fucking ruled, too. They beat the hell out of each other.
I liked it, yeah. I saw the kids match, didn't like it.
He had to go to sleep in front of Phil.
He also had a great tweet about that.
Yeah.
He did. Of course he did. Incredible. Punk being there is still like an insane thing that was just part of this show. One interesting night. I noticed you guys didn't include on the vibrator that the show started 50 minutes late, which I, on some level, respect. Either way, King defeats final boss Eddie Kingston and Jay White. I love this match.
So good.
More impeccable vibes. What did you think, boys? Enjoy this one?
Fucking awesome.
Oh yeah.
The finish with King just like emptying the fucking tank and giving him everything. One last kick out because he doesn't want to leave, but now he has to.
Yep.
Fuck, man.
He was really just
desperate. Jay White's facial expressions in that match were unbelievable.
Just a desperate, pathetic piece of shit, wasn't he, throughout that match? Just horrible. Great villain. I know everyone's going to do their bits, and Jay White was never good and all that stuff, and on some level I respect it, but that guy's fucking money, man. God, what a talent. He's going to make a lot of money, and good for him. All right. The Homicide Tom Lawler was up next, which Matt and I had a hell of a time watching. Homicide has become quite the experience, you know. He can't really do much, but everything he can do, he throws himself into, and it looks like it's an agonizing experience for him. Everything I just said was high praise. I enjoyed this very much. Seems like you guys did too.
Oh, we forgot to do Pop But You Know Bad for David Finlay.
Oh, yeah, that was...
I actually kind of liked the promo, but like it was David Finlay, so...
Did you really?
I thought it was pretty good.
That rules. We stick here at Good Vibes for... Oh, my God. Look at this title, man. Look at this whole shit. All right, the Zack Sabre Jr. match was up.
It's a little disrespectful to just call Clark Connors that.
Yes, it is. I agree.
It's a good song.
This match fucking ruled. I love these Zack Sabre Jr. 15-minute matches so much.
He's unbelievable, man. He's
that
such a
finishing sequence where they just fucking kept rolling into fucking different submissions. Oh, man.
Mm-hmm. Tremendous. Ka-ching is the title for it.
Money.
What a magical match that was, huh? That was like
awesome.
That's the most I've got lost in a match in terms of time. I had no. At one point in the year, I was like, "How long into this are we?" And it came out like 25 or shortly after that. It's just absolutely swept up in it. It was such a surreal moment. And of course, Mercedes wasn't going to let that thing pass without putting in a classic performance. Her and Kyrie tore it up. Anything else on that one, boys? Very special match.
$120. Shout out Brucey.
He did.
Wait, what happened?
We wagered on the match.
Yeah, Tope Suicide and Brucey Beats keep betting on professional wrestling.
Oh, that's real graps, man. That's real graps.
They bet on the over-under of the cage match.
That's
and the over-under on time.
I actually sympathize with Brucey there because I feel like he probably had a pretty solid case, but they let Mercedes do a thing here.
He took over 7.75 on cage match.
Wait, under you mean?
Yeah. Oh, my bad. I had over. He had under.
Yeah.
Yeah. He paid him before the match finished.
Valuable lesson there, folks. And this is something I've genuinely learned doing this, like legitimately. If you guys noticed last week when we were talking about this match, I was very bullish. I've learned in my time doing this that there are like wrestlers that could qualify as great ones, like true greats.
Mm-hmm.
Any chance you can, avoid doubting them. It never ends well. Even if they miss once or twice, they usually hit when it counts the most. And Mercedes obviously, of course, Kyrie, it goes without saying. Two just absolute legends. Wonderful match. Main event, we dropped down away from above impeccable vibes, but we're still impeccable there. Okada and Tanahashi playing the hits, doing their thing. It was a really good time. I thought I enjoyed it a lot.
I'm very happy with this match because I was a little fearful that it would be like fucking 40 minutes.
Yeah.
But they just kind of did their thing, and Okada didn't do like a 15-minute heat segment.
We should have had more faith in Tanahashi's instincts, to be honest. Right? He's pretty smart, understanding that kind of what matches should be long and what shouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
And we close there with the money makers. What a visual! Mercedes and Okada.
Surreal.
Unbelievable close to show. What a cool show that was. Anyone that is watching this and didn't see Matt and I's grin along, I honestly recommend, even if you're not watching the show, just flick through it and see us popping at some of the stuff. We had a really good time. That's over at latenightgrin.com. It's free, so you don't have to be a patron to see it. But yeah, that was a really, really fun one. Hell of a way to close a great show. So there you go, folks. A little New Japan content here on Fleet Week. They did announce the end, or Ian reiterated that they're going to be involved in Ring of Honor programming here as it starts up, which is saying that we'll probably dip our toe into on occasion, right? The Ring of Honor thing. I don't think it's saying we want to drown the show in because we have enough to cover with AEW. It's 4 shows of the week, but it'll come up, I'm sure. So there it is, folks. The New Japan Pro Wrestling King of Sports Battle in the Valley Vibrator, sponsored by The Confirm Shoot. All right.
Never doubt the queen, folks.
Incredible bit.
Bro match with one crystal girl on Tinder.
Moving on.
On that note, any final thoughts, words, plugs, promotions, Tope Suicida? Ideally not correlating with what you were just talking about.
No promotions.
Are you sure?
Do not watch what follows this.
True.
That's pretty stiff. Okay, fair.
You can watch the show.
Yeah.
Well, I like Oracle.
Yeah, that's true. Watch that half of the screen.
Just tape over, Bob. All right. Chris, anything else, man? Anything else to say? Anything to plug?
Not really. Just watch Fleet Week. Support the Grin.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Sounds good to me. Dukes, anything on your end?
Money.
Factual.
Ka-ching.
Good call. Folks, one last plug. Tomorrow, last day to get in your fleet, $50. I know for a fact I'm going to get one on Tuesday, and I will accept it, but I will do so with a smile on my face, let me tell you. Tomorrow, last day. We're probably going to do that. I think it makes sense to do it on this show, like to reveal it, but I don't know when. We'll figure it out. Maybe not, actually, because we always have the TV to talk about here. But nonetheless, it'll probably be revealed sometime next week. So Fleet 50 on the way. There you go, folks. Stick with us. We're back in about 25 minutes with the lads for Fed Dead Redemption, the Elimination Chamber review, 6:30 Eastern. We'll be back then. I'll be on the screen with Bobby and Oracle talking WWE. We hope you've enjoyed this. Keep grinning, all hail, and enjoy this outro, folks.